Welcome to Married to History, where we try to be informative, entertaining, and family friendly.
Aloha, I'm Christopher. I have a fancy piece of paper on my wall that says that I know more about history than most people do.
I'm Shirley. I'm a homeschool mom that relies on good curriculum, Christopher, and YouTube to teach our kids history.
Okay, I'm guilty of watching the occasional history YouTube video myself. Alright. Before we get into our episode, let's take a minute to review something from a past episode. It's important to keep in mind that Shirley doesn't warn me ahead of time about what the questions that she's going to ask me.
Yep, it's fun for me to see what he knows right off the top of his head, and that means sometimes we miss things. If you would like to hear a more comprehensive and well-prepared episode on any topic, just let us know. So, honey, what have we learned since last time?
I don't know. What have we learned since last time? Was I supposed to look something up?
No, but after we finished recording our last episode, you dropped some bombs on me that you should have shared with me during the episode, and I cannot believe you left these details out.
Oh, I can't remember. What were they?
Okay,
What
so
were we even talking about last time?
well, okay, so we're recording episode 39 right now.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been 38. It was when we finished the second half of our recording for 37. The Battle of Athens.
Okay.
Okay.
So I forgot to mention some stuff about the Battle of Athens?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember what it was?
No.
Okay, there was
Okay,
a character.
Please bear in mind, I've taught a couple of different lessons between now and
Whatever. It was like 2 days ago. Okay.
then. More than 2 days ago.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Okay, so you said that there was one.
Reading a lot about the expansion of one of the early Muslim empires recently, and so I'm kind of on that kick right now.
Well, that doesn't help me.
We should talk about the Battle of Toulouse sometime.
Maybe. Okay, first of all, Battle of Athens.
Yes.
You said there was a guy that had a fun name. I don't remember what he did.
Oh, you thought it was a fun name.
It was a
Okay,
really
I remember
fun name.
that. All right, so
I don't remember what he did.
Shirley is mocking this guy's
I'm not
name.
mocking him. It's a great name.
You're teasing him because of his name. So Shirley is one of those people, perhaps you know the type, that despises it when a person has a last name for their first name
Well.
and or a first name for their last name.
No, you can't
she
fault
has a low
people.
tolerance for that.
You can't fault people for having a first name as a last name. But I think it's hilarious that this guy has a first name for a last name, and so his parents give him a last name for a first name.
See, but there again, you're judging it by today's standards.
Whatever. What was
Names
his
have
name?
changed. Remember, once upon a time, Ashley was a boy's name.
Well, yes, but
Shirley was once a boy's name.
I don't think it was.
It was.
It might have been gender neutral for a hot second, but it was never a boy's
Hot
name.
second? Try a hot couple of centuries.
Briefly. I'm
All
going to
right,
look it up.
Anyway, so the man who was running for sheriff on the GI ticket, so the good guy, not the evil, corrupt sheriff, his name was Knox Henry. Knox was his first name. Henry was his last name.
I think it's a great name.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
Very cool. There was another detail that you did not share. Something about the soldiers taking hostages.
Oh, yes. Okay. So I believe I mentioned how some of the GI observers were taken hostage or taken prisoner by, or at least they tried to take them hostage and prisoner by the corrupt sheriffs in their group on at least, I think it was 2 different occasions. The GIs were also able to capture some of the sheriff's deputies that came to try to arrest them or harass them. If I remember correctly, at least 4 of these guys were taken out into the woods somewhere where the GIs, I kid you not, tied them to a tree and stripped them naked and beat them.
Yeah, no, that's not cool.
It's not cool at all.
That's definitely crossing a line.
And it goes along against some other similar encounters, shall we say, that I've read about conduct upon enemy soldiers during the Second World War and amongst other wars. So it doesn't surprise me at all.
Still, though, it's like we just did a whole episode about how these guys had tried all the right avenues. They were trying to do it the right way. And they resorted to violence at the last minute, just like desperation. There was nothing else they can do. But now you're telling me that they took hostages and tied them up naked to trees.
I'm telling you that some did. Not all of them. It wasn't a unified effort. The entire lot of the GI party did not get together and say, hey, what should we do with these guys? And they all voted, and it was unanimous.
But you know that it just takes a couple bad eggs to make a really bad name for the entire group.
That is entirely true, yes. And this is so often the cause of so many problems in history. A small group of bad eggs will start something, cause a problem, either innocently in that they didn't know the full extent of what they were doing, or willfully because they wanted the extreme result,
Right.
and the whole group gets labeled for it. I dare say that this is one of the things that is the cause of so many problems that we continue to face today.
Yeah.
A small group of actors on one side of any issue, any division between the people, will
Mm-hmm.
cause some mischief, and then the other side will react extremely to that, only incurring the other, or only inspiring the other side to counter react again in the extreme as well.
Right.
Well, often enough, a lot of the bad things that have happened in history have been the extremists of both sides throwing all the stones and whatnot, and the moderates being kind of stuck in the middle and saying, all right,
Mm-hmm.
well, we got to go with the extremists of our side, or else, or well, we got to go with the extremists of one side or the other, or else they're going to turn on us.
Right.
Yeah,
It's unfortunate.
it's an unfortunate part of history. So yes, and to another point that you were saying about, oh, they tried, they went through all these good efforts,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, often enough, when you go through all those steps, you try to do everything right, and then you finally get to that point where, all right, well, now it's war, now it's
Yeah.
fighting, then the hotter heads will start to prevail, and
Right.
people get angry, and when people get angry, they tend to throw any manner of conscience or dignity or whatnot out the window because they're
Right.
just acting on that anger and that adrenaline.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a history question for you today.
I love history questions.
So we talked recently. I don't know how recently. It seems like it was just a couple episodes ago, but I know it was more than that. About who was the most overrated president of the United States.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, your answer has not changed.
No.
So I want to know who you think the worst president was.
So, all right. So I've been asked this question before,
Uh-huh.
and this is largely not fair because I find that my answer will often enough change on either the mood I'm in, or perhaps what the most recent thing I talked about was,
Right.
or perhaps some new bit of research that I got. So
Yeah.
it changes from time to time. So
Okay, but also, and you and I have had this discussion, like it depends on what we define as worst.
Mhm.
What the stupidest, the one who passed the worst policies, the one who is the worst person in a moral sense,
Mhm.
and a lot of it has to do with circumstance as well.
So yes, that would be another condition of what would affect my answer.
Yeah.
So as far as it would help me if you gave me a specific give me a specific category. Like
Okay,
what
who was the stupidest, most idiotic president?
the dumbest president? All right.
Mhm.
I would imagine that there are some people out there that are going to say it was Gerald Ford.
That's easy. That's an easy
Well,
answer.
Like I said, some people are going to say Gerald Ford. I dismiss that.
Okay.
I know he got a lot of criticism for it. I remember at least one review that I read about him. The guy called Ford like some dumb hick that got hit in the head one too many times playing football.
Oh yeah.
But he was actually not that dumb. I'm not saying that he was a scholar or anything, but he was actually a pretty smart guy. So I don't
Okay.
think he was the dumbest. So, all right, and let me ask you this. All right, so as far as when we're talking about the dumbest, are we talking the guy who was like literally would get the lowest score on an IQ test dumbest, or the guy that tried to do the most stupid and ridiculous things?
I mean, I don't know the IQs of all the presidents, so we'll go with the latter.
All right, the guy who tried to do the stupidest and most ridiculous things.
There's a lot of presidents to choose
There
from.
are a lot of presidents to choose from. A lot of them did stupid, ridiculous things, but then a lot of them, even if they did a stupid, ridiculous thing, also did some good things too.
Does one stupid
Um,
event define a man?
Yeah, I don't think so. All right, so with that, since the whole point of the show is me doing this off the top
You
of
don't
my
have
head,
time to research.
yes, at the moment, I'm inclined to say Carter. And I
Okay.
say Carter because while it was a nice thing to do, yeah, this is just the example that came to me in thinking about this.
Uh-huh.
While it was a nice thing to do, arguably a good moral thing to do, to give the Panama Canal to the Panamanians,
Yeah.
on an economic standpoint, to the best of my knowledge, it was a
Right.
ridiculous thing for the United States to do.
It's such a
We
moral
gave up
good
a
to do, though.
major piece of real estate
Yeah.
that, to the best of my knowledge, was an economic boon for
Yeah,
us,
I would assume.
not an economic deadfall or dead weight for us.
Uh-huh. But we've continued to benefit from good relationships with the country though, haven't we?
I'll be honest, I don't know. I haven't paid too much attention. We got rid of the canal after the 1950s.
So you don't know.
So I do not know what our present standing on is with Panama. I do not
Uh-huh.
know what our continued standing would be with them had we not given the
Yeah.
canal to them. And so the canal was like the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
The second thing that I would use to support that is the debacle of the, I don't remember what the name of the operation was, but the debacle of the attempt to rescue the Iranian hostages.
Oh,
So I want to be
I've
clear.
heard of that.
Reagan gets credit for freeing the Iranian hostages,
But he didn't
that
do
deal,
any of the work.
that deal was worked out during Carter's time. But before
Yeah.
that deal was worked out, and I believe Carter is responsible for this. If it wasn't Carter and it was Ford, then
Someone will correct
I'm
us.
off. Then I'm off base when I say this. But yeah, the first attempt by, I believe it was the Delta Force to rescue those hostages was a embarrassing debacle. Everything went wrong with that operation, and we could talk about that in another episode. But it was after the 70s, or sorry, it was after the 50s, and I'm struggling to remember everything that I recall. I just remember that like they revealed their presence because something blew up and that wasn't supposed to, and they had a logistics problem, so they were. So yeah, the first rescue attempt was embarrassing.
Dang.
And also because I think that his debate performance was sadly abysmal.
Really?
I think that Ronald Reagan just crushed him, absolutely crushed him in that
Oh.
debate. There was one line in particular, and I know I've told you about this. I've always thought that okay, this was the zinger moment,
Okay.
and it's so embarrassing because I don't even remember what the issue was at hand when this
But that
zinger was
doesn't
given.
matter.
But yeah, Carter was talking about something and making some accusations or something at Ronald Reagan, and Reagan just kind of laughed at him and said, "There you go again,"
Oh my
and went on. And
gosh.
yeah, and you could see it in Carter's
Yeah.
face as he's like, because Carter's like stops talking there, and just kind of looking at him like, and you can see Carter knows this is
Yeah.
his face. This guy is killing me.
Well, that's a power move to react like that, the way Reagan did.
But, often enough is how
Do you
conduct
hear this
yourself in
guy?
the debates.
Awesome. Okay, so which was the most dangerous president?
So that is. All right, this is gonna get me some enemies.
Oh,
right.
let's maybe not talk about presidents after the 50s.
Okay, well, if I'm cutting that off, all right, well, then this will be a little easier. Okay, most dangerous before the 50s?
I don't know.
All right.
Are you willing to be controversial?
Most dangerous.
You can go sooner, but
Okay.
I don't know.
So, again, without thinking about it too much here,
Mhm.
I'm going to say Polk for one,
Okay.
maybe FDR.
Ooh.
Polk because of getting us into the Mexican War specifically.
That was a bad idea.
It was an immoral idea
Okay.
that arguably caused a lot of problems. It
Yeah.
worked out to a financial benefit for the United States.
Okay.
And then FDR because and a lot of people will cry, no, this isn't true or
I thought
whatnot,
he was
but
considered a hero.
he is often considered a hero because he gets credit for World War II and for ending the Depression. While,
Yeah.
yes, he was president during World War II, he should not get credit for ending the Depression. And what a lot of people don't know, because they don't teach this in history, is that, all right, the economy was already recovering before FDR engaged his New Deal plans, most of his New Deal plans.
Yeah.
And it is a fair assessment by, I don't know about most, but at least many economists, Thomas Sowell, I believe, among them, that
No idea who that is, but
well,
cool.
Thomas Sowell is one of my favorite economists. He's
Okay.
he's probably like one of those best economists who is just brilliant beyond measure, and yet also the one that nobody listens to, or not enough people listen to.
Well,
So if you ever get the opportunity, read some of his books, watch some of his interviews and speeches.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful, smart man. It's going to be a travesty when he dies. Where was I? Oh,
yeah, I don't know. FDR,
a
bad.
lot of people believe, and I believe this as well, is that okay? But his New Deal plans
Mhm.
delayed the recovery or stalled the recovery,
Really?
and made, amongst other things, made the economy more directly controlled, more directly dependent upon the government, instead of it being more open, more free, and thus more. So, a lot of people say that the government needed to step in more because if the government stepped in and done a better job, then the stock market crash never would have happened.
Okay.
Well, yes, okay, the government could have stepped in and could have made rules that would have prevented or at least deterred the chance that the stock market crash was going to happen.
Uh-huh.
But most of the reason why it happened was just because of bad, foolish economic practices and
Yeah.
the ignorance of people and a lot of bankers or a lot of financial people as well do not realize that, hey, booms don't last. They will eventually end, and we need to prepare for that.
Lies. I mean, we've never seen the housing market crash in our lifetime. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Things
Yes,
are
you've never
great.
seen any market crash. You've never seen
No.
anything, be it houses or, shall
No.
we say, beanie
They
babies,
boom
that
and they
suddenly there's more of them
Beanie
out there in the
Babies.
world than people want.
They boom and then they stay big forever.
Yeah,
Funko. That's the next one.
that is an economic fallacy.
Yeah, whatever. Funko will never die.
Aren't they already dead? Oh,
No.
you're talking about those Funko figures.
The
or whatever.
pops.
Wasn't there a
The
store named Funko for a time?
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't know. I'm just thinking about
yeah,
those little
Funko
figurines.
Land. Funko Land.
Was that a
was
toy store?
of some kind. I don't think they were a toy store. I think they were an electronics store, or maybe like a rent-to-own store or something.
No
like
idea. You're old. I don't know.
that. Ouch.
Anyways, booms
I'm-
happen
I'm
and then
after
they
the
crash.
50s.
Do you have anything else to say
yes, I
about
would say
FDR?
FDR was economically dangerous, and I would say that Polk was militarily dangerous in getting us into the Mexican War. So, this is something that perhaps I've said about history also. I say that this was dangerous because throughout its history, the United States has been ill prepared for every war it went into, and I mean every
Well,
war
that's
it went
depressing.
to. That didn't change until after World War II. That's when the United States, probably thanks to Truman less so, more so Eisenhower after Truman, to engage in this idea that, okay, no, if this ever happens again, the U.S. needs to be ready. We cannot
We finally
allow
learned.
another conflict like this to happen and not be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, the U.S. before that time was ill prepared for the war. Even if we were the ones that started that war, we did so ill prepared for it. And the Mexican War was an excellent example.
Okay.
We were not prepared for it at the time. We got lucky in that we had better equipment and that our soldiers had better training. That was the main reason for how we ended up winning in the Mexican War. Where soldiers were better disciplined, our soldiers had better training, and again, we had the better weapons.
Okay. All right. Next question. Which president could you look back at their presidency and say the country is in measurably worse shape because of them, like after their term was over?
Immeasurably worse shape?
Measurably worse shape.
Arguably many of them, but I wouldn't say...
But because of them.
Okay, well then FDR makes the list again.
Okay.
Andrew Johnson, I would say him.
What's he known for?
He probably would have been a candidate for the worst thing, so I didn't think about him at the time. Andrew Johnson was the guy that took over after Lincoln was assassinated.
Oh, we mentioned him.
Yeah, we've talked about him before, and so he is. So Reconstruction ends during Grant's time, but Johnson is the one that more or less sabotaged it ignorantly or purposefully.
Right, I remember
before it got started. Thus ruined what could have been at least a better recovery of the United States after the Civil War was over.
Right.
Don't think any of the others, at least none of the others, before the 1950s. So even when I talk about worst presidents and bad and terrible and leaving the country bad, I don't think any president has truly destroyed, for all the things that we say about, if this person wins, they're going to destroy the country.
Oh yeah, we love hyperbole.
No, I don't think any
Worst
president has truly ruined the United States.
Well, that's good.
We've always been able to endure or survive or carry on.
Yeah.
Some of the legacies are not as good as others. Some of the legacies are still causing problems today. But our country continues to exist. And for that, I would say that, no president that we've had has been truly awful.
Must not have been that bad, huh?
Even the one that I was going to say was the worst, and I think has caused so many problems today. Our country is still alive. We haven't had a civil war again. So I'm inclined to say that, no, we're not that bad.
All right.
I would say like this. I have enough faith and enough love in our system of government and in the Constitution because I am confident that, all right, even the most terrible, awful human being, if they were to become president of the United States, because of the rules and the conduct in the Constitution, they will never actually be able to successfully destroy the nation. That will always be the people.
Right. Right. Okay. Which one made the most mistakes? So the largest number of mistakes, whether those mistakes are large or small. Ford
No, not Ford.
tripping on the
Just-
way up to the plane.
Okay, well, we're talking small scale mistakes like that.
You can be, however you want to measure.
So, as far as the biggest mistakes, actually, I'm going to pick on Woodrow Wilson there for showing
Okay.
Birth of a Nation inside the White House.
Ooh, yeah, that I'm not sure that was a mistake. That was a conscious evil choice.
But in the looks of history, that was a mistake on the part of
Okay,
the president.
okay.
So yeah, I need more quantification in some of those questions that you're asking. I would think it was a mistake of President Trump to react to his critics so poorly. I think the same thing of Biden. Oh no, Biden didn't, or not Biden.
I don't know.
Obama didn't. I don't think Obama reacted poorly to his critics. Let's see other mistakes. Yes, it was a mistake for Ford to trip on the stairs, but then Biden's been doing that mistake a couple of times, and then he hasn't been eviscerated quite as much as Ford was.
Well,
Let's see here. I think. I am inclined to say that Truman made a mistake, but we'll never know for sure of interfering with MacArthur's work as SCAP as much as he did. I do not think it was a mistake to buy the Louisiana Territory, so that one's out the window. Let's see. I think it was a mistake for William Henry Harrison to have supposedly given his inaugural speech without wearing his coat on a cold day.
I mean, okay, but that's a fun story because then he died like what, a week later or something.
30 days. His
So-
presidency was 30 days.
Okay, so it's a fun story to say that he died because he got sick because he did his speech in the rain. But like that's not how bacteria and viruses work. But okay. All right, well then move on to the next one. Which president would you definitely not vote for if they were elected today? Like which one would you dread coming up and campaigning today for any reason?
Am I being limited to pre-1950s ones?
I don't want you to get too recent.
All right, so if I'm limited to pre-1950s
Sure.
ones, all right, which one would I absolutely no way, shape, or form want back in office?
Correct. Or like you see on the news that they've announced their candidacy and you just, like pain in the guts.
Okay, I don't know if he would be my number one. I wouldn't want it back, but I wouldn't want Jefferson back. I wouldn't want
Really?
I wouldn't want FDR back. I wouldn't want Harding back.
I know nothing about Harding or Jefferson. Why wouldn't you want
Harding was
them?
president for like 2 or 3 years before he died, and then Calvin Coolidge took over. Oh, Calvin Coolidge! I would love to have Calvin Coolidge back. He was an awesome.
He's a
president.
good one?
He
Okay.
was a good one. Not inclined to say I'd want Herbert Hoover back. Wouldn't mind Truman back. Wouldn't mind Eisenhower.
But Hoover
back.
built all those great neighborhoods, the Hoovervilles. There's a song about it in Annie. We'd like to thank Herbert Hoover. Apparently they were really great.
Hoovervilles were not very great. In fact,
Are you saying the musical lied to me?
In fact, there are signs that say that dark times are still hoovering over us all.
Oh, I assumed it was because of the vacuum.
No.
I never thought about it.
Seriously?
I don't know. I've heard that
So
saying maybe twice.
We've been over this before.
My mind would first go to the vacuum.
We've gone over this before. I sometimes struggle with what some people, even you, actually don't know. It like just doesn't enter into my brain that people don't know this.
I know, and that's part of the fun when I can get you where you like don't know if I'm stupid or not.
Hoovervilles were
I really would think of the vacuum first.
Hoovervilles were shanty towns. We
Yeah.
might very easily compare them to the homeless encampments
Yeah.
that we talk about today. The difference being that the homeless encampments that we talk about today, people are living in tents, whereas Hoovervilles were shanty towns. So instead of tents, they found 3 pieces of plywood in a cardboard box and nailed them together.
Yeah, yeah. No, and in the musical it is sung sarcastically. So I knew Hoovervilles weren't good.
It's hard to tell sometimes with you.
I know.
I can't say for sure there's anybody else in particular that I would be immediately opposed to them being back in office.
I need to know why Jefferson.
Why Jefferson? Mostly because
He's Mr. Freedom
no, he's not.
and independence and liberty and justice
He
for
wrote
all.
the Declaration of Independence. Good for him. But he was very much a political animal of the day.
Yeah.
So the great political rivalry between Jefferson. So in your Hamilton musical, the great political rivalry is between Hamilton and Jefferson.
Yeah.
And yes, there was a political rivalry between them. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But I more often think of the political rivalry between him and John Adams. They were friends once upon a time. Like so many other situations, they were friends during before the Revolution. They were friends during the Revolution, and they were even friends after the Revolution. all the way up until the point until they ran against each other for president,
Right.
and Adams won. It was probably a little bit earlier than that there was a divide, but Adams at least noted this a couple of times in his writings. I'm not sure about Jefferson off the top of my head, but Adams recognized that, okay, Jefferson has gone from being this man who, like me, we saw that something was wrong, we knew what to do about it because the solution was easily spotted, or at least a solution was easily spotted, and it was the right thing to do, and we knew to do it.
Yeah.
And he noticed that Jefferson was slowly becoming more a political animal. Rather than recognizing what the problem is and recognizing what the solution is,
doing it.
He's going to say, well, no, that's not going to work out best for me.
Oh.
So we're going to do something else.
So he's slimy.
Like, amongst other things, never did free his slaves despite being I'm going to use air quotes here, a proponent
Mr. Freedom, I believe I called him.
During much of his political campaigning, at least, he was rather nefarious. Not surprising. I mean, that's what political campaigns do. But like I said, the two men were friends, and Adams never attacked Jefferson during the whole of their political rivalry. But Jefferson had him trashed. Jefferson had Adams trashed, but maintained distance enough from the press and from the media that were doing it
so
that
he didn't get blamed.
Claim that, oh, I didn't know they were saying that about you.
Slimy politician.
Yes, or at least so. I don't remember if that is 100% true.
Okay.
But Adams believed that was the case, and I think tried to call him out on it at least once or twice.
So then he unfriended him.
Yes.
Did he also block him?
I believe that a ghosting took place. But now that I say that, actually, no, I take that back, because I think they did resolve their differences before they died. They died on the same day.
Oh, I've heard that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they did have at least some manner of consolation before they died.
Yeah. Well, good for them.
It's been a while since I read that book. That was a good book.
Which book?
There was a book that either you or someone else gave me about John Adams. I think I mentioned this before a long time ago. I was among the few that thought, ugh, John Adams, blip on history, not an important guy. And then one of my professors mentioned that John Adams was his political hero, so that got me more interested in him.
Why?
And then, particularly as I was reading that book that somebody gave me about him, like, this guy is a genius. Yeah, I love him. He would be a guy that I would love to see back in the presidency.
Okay. All right, let's move on. Which one was the least moral? So which is the worst person? Because they're a disgusting person who happened to also be president.
Am I limited to the pre-19? Okay, no, I'm not.
When was Johnson? Because he was gross.
I'm not going to limit myself to the pre-1950s this time. So as far as immorality is concerned, that's actually going to be a toughie. But I'm going to say it's a good mix between, or a good competition, a healthy competition for immorality. We could say between Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Between with Johnson in there, with Kennedy in there, and with Harding in there, and oh man, who did I miss?
I don't know.
There was another guy that
I just assume all male politicians are disgusting slime balls and cheat on their wives.
The ones whose morality is super
super bad.
Super bad, yeah. All right, who's the other one? Who did I say? Okay, I got Clinton. I got Johnson. I got Kennedy. Oh, Nixon. Did I say Nixon?
You didn't say Nixon.
Nixon was the other one, yes.
Okay, so I'm familiar with all of them except Harding. What did Harding do that was so bad?
All right, so Harding was...
Keep it family friendly.
Yeah, there's nothing terrible about that. Okay, no.
Okay.
Harding, I don't remember if it was the mob, but criminal elements had their hands in his pocket, or rather he had their... I don't remember what the expression is.
I don't know.
He was taking money, he was taking bribes, he was corrupt. And unless I'm mistaken, there was at least rumor of an impeachment possibility on him that never came to fruition because he died before it could come to that. But if I remember correctly, it was believed. I don't remember if it was ever proved. I believe it was true that, there was some corruption. The Teapot Dome scandal.
Teapot Dome?
Yeah, the Teapot Dome scandal was a thing, and I'm embarrassed now because I'm not remembering what specifically it was about. But that had something to do with the rumors of his corruption.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why. So he, to the best of my knowledge, he's the president that it was most agreed upon or most known that, oh yeah, this guy is definitely corrupt. Sure, we say that other people are corrupt, and we're sure that other people, or rather we believe that other people are corrupt. There's plenty of people out there that believe that Trump is corrupt, getting money from Russia. There's plenty of people out there that think that Biden is corrupt, getting money from his son's overseas deals. But I think Harding is the only one that we know for certain, oh, this guy was taking money.
Yeah. Okay. Last question, unless you're really inspired. This one, Primus thought of. She wanted to know which president was the most out of touch with the people, with society.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I
Can't think of anybody?
I'm inclined to say Carter again.
Wasn't
'Cause he
Carter
got-
the most in touch with the people? Because he wasn't like fancy, having the balls like. Didn't
That-
he cut pay and stuff?
I don't know about the cut pay part, but I know that he got teased a lot in Saturday Night Live, particularly for his being so I guess that would be he was too in touch with the
Yeah.
people. He was known for they teased him for like, oh, there could be the Cuban Missile Crisis could be on the horizon, but he's going to stop because he saw some guy on the street that fell over. He's going to walk over there and help him up. And ask him what his
Yeah.
life is
See,
about.
that's what I've
Okay,
heard
so,
about
all
him.
right, so yeah,
And like turning down
not
the
thinking-
heater and wearing sweaters
I'm
and
not
stuff.
thinking from the right perspective then. All right, hit
Mhm.
me with the question again.
So the most out of touch with the
Who's
people.
out of touch with the people? Oh, okay. Actually, I will go with Trump then.
Okay.
I would say that he's the most out of touch with the people. He said a lot of things that people liked during his original
Yeah.
campaign, and I have no doubt whatsoever that's why he got elected.
Uh-huh.
But then when it came around to his reelection, I think he gave, or I don't know if he gave up on it or he just wasn't in touch with the people, and
Uh-huh.
he thought he thought that the voters were still in the same mindset, that everything was like all the people still were of the same mindset, and he
Mhm.
did not recognize that no, things have changed over the last 4 years. He was
Okay.
still popular, but he had obviously lost a lot of that connection he had with the people. And I'm entirely convinced I am among those people that sincerely believe that had even one of his aides just gone up to him and taken his phone away from him for those 4 years,
Yes.
I honestly believe he would have had the most easy re-election that anybody would have ever recalled.
Yeah, no, I agree. If they'd taken away his Twitter privileges,
Yeah.
things would have been very different.
If he does win again, I sure hope that he's going to create the Secretary of Social Media position, and that secretary's sole job is going to be to not allow him to post on social media.
Well, and this especially is funny to me because Obama was the first president that we had on social media.
Mhm.
Period. It was like a big deal. Would he be able to keep his BlackBerry and stuff? And then now it's completely different. Of course, the president is on Twitter. Of course, all of this is happening now on social
And I think
media.
that that's going to change how presidents are able to.
Yeah.
So when you asked me the question, my actual first thought was Queen Elizabeth. She's not president of the
Yeah.
United States, but as far as being out of touch with the people, I
The
remember
Queen Elizabeth
II.
II.
Yep. I remember reading an interview or an article, something that she did, where she basically said that, around about the time of Diana's death,
Uh-huh.
she recognized that she was out of touch with the people.
Yeah.
She had conducted herself ever since she was queen in the same way all throughout her
Yeah.
reign, and it wasn't until then that she recognized that the world has changed.
Yep.
My people, my country have changed,
And she hasn't
had
caught
to
up.
make some adjustments.
Yeah. Okay. Is there any president that you think is super, super bad that you have not mentioned that needs like an honorable mention here at the end?
Super, super bad. No, I think we've talked plenty about the good and the bads, and I want to again state that even the worst presidents or even the presidents that I think were worse, I don't think were terrible, awful, because again, the country continues.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, I don't remember hearing anybody saying Bush the second, if he were elected, the world was going to end. But I seem to recall hearing
Uh-huh.
that if Hillary was elected, the world was going to end.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't happen, so I can throw that out. I seem to recall hearing that if Obama was reelected,
Uh-huh.
the world was
I
going to end.
remember that.
I seem to recall hearing that if Trump was elected, the world was going to end.
Uh-huh.
And I seem to recall hearing that if Biden was elected, the world was going
So
to
is
end.
it just a modern phenomenon? Are we just
well,
more panicked now?
I'm inclined to say that yes. I'm inclined to say that extremism has
Mm.
grown more
Uh-huh.
to the point where we are no longer or we are less at that state where an election can happen, and so throughout American history, elections have happened.
Yeah.
Some people won, some people lost. With the
Uh-huh.
exception of the 1860 election, the losers more or less handled it okay.
Yeah.
And the country went on. Because eventually your party's candidate is going to be the one that wins.
Right.
Somewhere on down.
Because it'll swing back. It always does.
But so I can't say, because I've never conducted a study on it myself, and I don't recall reading or seeing any legitimate enough studies on the matter. I don't know for sure when or who or how it started. But it does seem to me that, at least in these last couple of elections, that more and more the people with extremist ideas, or people with an interest in an extreme narrative, are going with that campaign. And there are people succumbing to this idea that, oh no, if the other candidate, the one you don't want, does get elected, then yes, the world will end.
Yeah.
And yet, despite the fact that Obama did get reelected, and Trump did get elected, and Obama did get elected, we're still here. I was among those that did not want to see Biden. Oh, I didn't want to see Biden or Trump get elected. I want to make that very clear. I've been accused so many times because I didn't like Biden very much that I must be a Trumper, and I'm not. I was happy. Don't get me wrong. I was happy during Trump's presidency. It was a good 4 years for my family. But yeah, I did not want to see either of them win. I think I've said this event. I liked one of the third party candidates better. In that particular election. But I was more worried about Biden winning than I was about Trump winning. Because like I said, I had 4 years, for me, 4 good years under Trump. And believing what I knew about Biden's policies, I was quite certain that it was not going to be happy. And I maintain that, I was right. I'm not nearly as happy these last 3 years it's been as I was during the Trump era. And I remember, but despite the fact that I was remembering thinking that, it's not going to be good, at no point in time was I so scared that, the world is going to end or our country is going to fall apart.
Yes.
I hope it never comes to that, but it does seem to me that there are enough interested people on both sides of the aisle to push and make that extremist idea more and more popular. And that saddens me, because that is not how our government, our country should function.
Nope.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
That's a recipe that could one day has the possibility of leading to something like the French Revolution within the United States, and that ain't good. It's not good for a number of things. Not only because it means that Americans are going to be killing other Americans in the name
that's usually not great.
In the name of political ideologies or loyalties, but it also means that there will be waves where the first wave will kill a lot of their enemies, but then the second wave, being unhappy about the first wave, will then kill all the heroes of the first wave. And if there are more waves after that, this is what tends to happen in revolutions. In the French Revolution, in the Russian Revolution, in both of the Chinese revolutions, you tend to execute the heroes of the previous wave, because they're either because they got in the way or because they brought about all the bad of the failed revolution in the first place, kind of a thing.
Sounds like a bad idea.
I worry about us getting to that level of stupidity, of foolishness. Hasn't happened yet, and I'm happy about that.
And it probably won't, because America's great.
I sure hope so, yes.
America.
So I think I've said this before to you. We don't need new laws or anything of that nature. We just need to enforce the laws we have, and I think everything will be peaceful and fine.
Yep. Fantastic. Well, we'll end on that depressing.
This was a bad,
optimistic,
depressing, sad episode. I thought we were supposed to be fun and family friendly.
It was hilarious.
Well, we're not. We didn't say anything family friendly on here, but it seemed like a sad episode.
It was nothing but laughs today.
Are
you okay?
Kind of sad now.
Oh! Speaking of laughs.
What?
No. Speaking of laughs.
What did you break? What? There is nothing I despise more than an artificial laugh track. So this is a product of that device that Shirley throw up on her tickety talk. Boombox prod. Whatever those apps are called things.
If you've been following our social media, you'll have seen that we got a new sound system.
I despise laugh tracks. This is why I despise laugh tracks. I'm getting on my soapbox here. I'm not actually on a soapbox, but honey, now that I've said it, I want a soapbox. Christmas list. I want a soapbox.
I'll get you a soapbox.
Didn't you say somebody said we could ask for like donations or something on Amazon or something?
We can ask for donations on anything.
I want a soapbox. Tie. No, it doesn't have to be tie. Just a soapbox. All right.
Oh my god.
And it has to be able to hold my weight. All right.
That's going to be hard.
What was I saying? Oh, yes. I hate laugh tracks. I hate laugh tracks because if your joke was funny enough, you shouldn't need a laugh track. Laugh tracks... Why are you the way that you are? I loathe you. I
love
loathe
me.
every fiber of your being.
You love
I despise
me.
laugh tracks because, yes, if your joke is funny enough, you shouldn't need to play a laugh track in order to get people to laugh at it. And they are mostly done so that, oh, hey, people aren't laughing as much as we want them to. So, hey, if we play this thing because laughter is infectious, then other people will laugh. So, I'm a big fan of MASH. I don't know if
We've
mentioned this on the
established that.
show, but yes, we've established that I love MASH. And there are a lot of jokes in MASH that aren't funny. Or, even more embarrassing, were repeated a lot. I don't remember, like, I've never sat down and counted it, but the joke about the following people volunteered to go on a 10-mile hike, and then nothing after that. That joke
Classic.
was in several episodes, and they always played a laugh track to it. It wasn't that funny. It was funny the first time. It wasn't funny after that.
And everyone knows that show was not filmed in front of a studio audience.
Exactly.
So it was definitely not an
Definitely
audience laughing.
I remember one time they played a laugh track as they were walking a table. They knocked down the wall of Colonel Blake's office, so that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But then they continued to play the laugh track as they walked his desk out of there that they were trying to steal. What's funny about walking the desk out of there? Yeah, the wall coming down was funny, but what's funny about walking the desk out of there?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, I promise I will not use the laugh button, but how about this one? This is good, right?
This is my jam. I can
See?
get behind this.
See, do you need... This is like theme music. Do I need to play this?
This is Sparta music.
Should I play this every time that you are about to say something profound?
Yes, always. That should be my intro music.
Well, then we'll
Play it again,
never
play it again.
we'll never hear
Play
that
it again!
again because you'll never
Play
say
it
anything
one more
profound
time.
and amazing.
Play it one
okay.
more time.
Okay, here it goes.
Aloha. I am Christopher. I have the fancy piece of paper on my wall that says that I know more about history than you. Yeah. I dropped my microphone right now, but it's expensive and we just got it, so I probably shouldn't do that. You
no,
get
no.
mad at me, and I don't think our sponsor would
no.
appreciate it if I did that. So
No.
yeah, no mic drop.
No
But,
mic drops.
ooh.
No mic drops.
Ooh. Did they hear that? Did they hear anything? All
No,
I'm
I
gonna
don't
put
think
I'm
so.
gonna
The
put my
mic is too
microphone next
good.
to this. That was TV remote drop. Yeah, sucker.
Are you feeling better now?
I am feeling very better now. We ended the episode on a high note.
We did.
I am feeling very better now.
We better stop
Ye-
there
ye-
before
ye-
things go
ye-
off the rails
I
again.
feel like going to a dance party now.
Thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, then please subscribe, tell your friends, and leave us a 5-star review.
If you'd like to hear a future episode with more information about today's topic, contact us on Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok at Married to History Pod.
Also, please contact us if you have a silly question idea or if there's something from history that you would love to learn about.
Just be sure to make it a silly one because we need more laughs here. I'm still a little bit depressed from all that. But of course, yes, if it is a serious one, let us know because we don't want to treat a genuine quest for knowledge as a joke.
Talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. Because we don't want to treat this serious... Okay, I gotta read the script again. This is gonna be embarrassing. Sure, this is gonna throw this in the outtakes, I know it. Just be sure to specify in your message if it's a silly or serious question. There should be question in there. There's not question
No,
in there.
if it's silly or serious.
Ah,
Not it's a silly or serious.
but you put an apostrophe in there. That's
if
is.
it is silly or serious.
Oh.
I know how to do
Just be
it.
sure to specify in your message if it is...
Silly.
If it's... Oh. I got it. No, I got this. Take the 20?
Yes.
Alright. Just be sure to specify in your message if it's silly or serious.